looking at a source today that, honestly, it reads like a psychological thriller. It's a first-person account from a man who felt he was surrounded by people who didn't really care about him.
So he set a trap to see who would survive.
And the results? Well, let's just say the bridge didn't just crack. It disintegrated.
It's a brutal case study. And while the story is, entertaining in a kind of train wreck way,
Yes.
it's also a perfect vehicle for us to discuss some pretty heavy behavioral concepts. We're going to be looking at revealed preference, the dark triad of personality traits, and even a little bit of the game theory of betrayal.
So let's set the board. Who is this guy? Because you don't just wake up one morning and decide to nuke your entire social circle, unless things are already pretty bad.
No, you absolutely don't. The narrator, he paints this picture of what I'd call quiet desperation. He was struggling financially, feeling beaten down by life, but specifically, he felt used.
He describes his inner circle as parasites.
That is a very loaded word.
It is. It implies they aren't just unhelpful, they're actively feeding off of him.
And he gives us the data to back that up. Take his wife, Laura. This wasn't just a stale marriage. She was actively contemptuous.
She called him a loser to his face. Daily.
Every single day. I mean, can you imagine?
And that's the part that really got me. I thought, okay, maybe he's just being sensitive. But then I saw the detail about the divorce lawyer.
Right. She had consulted a divorce attorney the week before. So the marriage was already, for all intents and purposes, over. She was just staying.
Probably because she didn't have the money to leave. She was looking for an exit strategy.
One that didn't hurt her wallet.
Yeah.
Then you've got the brother, Ted.
Ted. The failed crypto scammer.
As the source calls him. The defining moment for Ted, for me, is the $5 loan. The narrator asked his own brother for $5, literally enough for a sandwich, and Ted said no.
That's so specific, isn't it? It's not, he wouldn't lend me $1,000, it's $5. That tells you Ted placed his brother's value at, well, effectively zero.
Precisely. And finally, there's Gary, the so-called best friend. The narrator felt he'd been emotionally and financially supporting Gary for years. Always picking up the tab, always being the shoulder to cry on.
And getting nothing back.
Nothing, so that's the baseline. The narrator is the punching bag for his whole tribe.
So he snaps. But he doesn't scream, he doesn't fight, he gets quiet. He opens Photoshop.
And he sets the trap. He creates this fake image of a winning lottery ticket. Won $100 million. He doesn't even say, I won. He just drops the image into the family group chat.
Which is so smart. He lets their greedy imaginations do all the work. Now, this is where we see the first psychological principle really kick in. How long did it take for them to flip?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. That seems impossibly fast. Wouldn't you be a little skeptical? Wouldn't you at least ask to see the physical ticket?
You would think so.
Yeah.
But this is a classic example of what behavioral economists call hyperbolic discounting.
Okay, break that down.
It's our brain's tendency to want smaller, immediate rewards over larger, later ones. But in this case, the idea of the money was so massive, so immediate, that it just bypassed their logic centers completely.
They got a dopamine hit just from the picture.
Exactly. They didn't want to check if it was real because, that might ruin the high. The potential reward just washed away all the skepticism.
And the first one to crack is Laura.
Oh, completely. Laura, the woman who was just talking to divorce lawyers, suddenly comes home early from work. And she's cooking his favorite meal.
She's touching him, hugging him, telling him she always knew he was special.
The flip is, it's just terrifying. It's so transactional. Affection becomes this currency she's just printing out of thin air because she thinks she's about to cash in.
And Ted shows up.
The guy who wouldn't lend him $5. He arrives with a bottle of expensive whiskey. All of a sudden it's, bro, we're a team. Remember all the good times.
And what about Gary, the best friend?
Gary calls, and he's crying tears of joy. But listen to this. He immediately starts rewriting history. He says, dude, we bought that ticket together, right? I gave you the $1.
Wow. He's already trying to stake his claim on the money.
It's predatory. So the narrator invites them all over for a celebration dinner. But of course, this isn't a party. It's a sting operation.
He has bugged his own house.
He has, with hidden microphones.
Okay, I have to play devil's advocate for a second here. Is this ethical? I mean, he is manufacturing a temptation that very, very few people could resist. Isn't this entrapment?
That is a fair question. And if he had a happy, healthy marriage and just did this out of the blue, I'd say he's a sociopath.
Right.
But you have to remember the baseline. These people were already abusing him. He didn't create the cracks in the bridge. He just decided to put a little weight on them to see if they'd hold.
And what he found Well, it more than justifies the
It
test.
really does. So the surveillance.
Okay.
He excuses himself to go to the bathroom, he puts on headphones, and he listens to the mics in his own living room.
And this is where the story gets really dark. He calls it a matryoshka doll of betrayal.
It's just layers within layers. So let's peel back the first one. The wife and the best friend.
He's in the bathroom, and he hears Laura and Gary whispering, and they are not planning a surprise party for him.
No. It turns out they are already in cahoots. Laura literally asks Gary, does he suspect anything? And Gary, the best friend, says, no, he's an idiot.
He's an idiot, the guy they were just hugging 2 minutes ago.
Then Gary lays out the plan. And it's pure cold calculation. He tells Laura to wait for the money to officially hit the bank account.
And then?
Then she files for divorce. In their jurisdiction, she gets half, $50 million.
Okay, that's an ugly but, I guess, standard divorce strategy.
But here's the kicker. Gary and Laura agree to split her share. Gary is actively coaching her to leave his best friend so he can take a $25 million cut.
So Gary isn't a friend, he's a predator.
Absolutely. But wait, layer 2. Laura leaves the room to get some ice.
Yeah.
Now it is just Gary and Ted, the brother.
And the speed of this next betrayal is what really shocked me. Gary turns on Laura instantly.
Instantly, this is where we see those dark triad personality traits in action, specifically Machiavellianism. This is pure manipulation for personal gain, with zero regard for morality.
So what does he do?
He looks at Ted and says, listen, Laura's a snake. She thinks she's getting half, but if you help me get power of attorney over your brother, we can cut her out completely.
Wait, so 5 seconds ago he was plotting with Laura. Now he's recruiting the brother to destroy her.
He's creating a new alliance based on a higher potential payday. He offers Ted 20% of the total pot, $20 million.
And Ted, this is his own brother. This is his sister-in-law. Does he even hesitate?
Not for a single second. The phrase he uses is, it's just fascinatingly awful. He agrees, and he says, blood is thicker than water.
Oh, come on. That's sickeningly ironic.
It's pure cognitive dissonance. He uses a maxim about family loyalty to justify helping a complete stranger rob his brother and his brother's wife.
He's framing it in his head as Gary and I are the real team when he's just selling out his own family for a 20% cut.
It's unbelievable. So let's just look at the scorecard here. The narrator is sitting on the toilet listening to all this. His wife is plotting to divorce him. His best friend is plotting to defraud everyone. And his brother has sold him out for cash.
And the craziest part is that the only person in the house who knows the money isn't real is him. He's watching them fight over a ghost.
Right. Most people just, I don't know, stay in the bathroom, climb out the window. But he goes back in.
In this scene, the description of the fake plastic smiles is just haunting.
He walks back into the lion's den. They're all beaming at him, handing him a glass of champagne. This is revealed preference at its peak.
What's that?
It's the idea that what people say is irrelevant. Their actions, especially when they think no one is watching, reveal their true preferences. They say they love him, but their actions reveal their true preference, money over him.
So he raises a glass and he proposes a toast.
To loyalty.
Which is the ultimate trap. And they all cheer to loyalty because they think they've gotten away with it. They're celebrating their own deception.
And then the drop. He tells them he has a surprise, and Laura, she guesses it's a diamond necklace.
Which tells you exactly where her head is at, acquisition.
He says no, a recording, and he presses play on a remote.
I just want you to imagine the acoustics in that room. It goes from a party to dead silence, and then their own voices just start blasting through the speakers.
First, they hear the Laura and Gary plot. File for divorce. Split the half.
And the physical reaction is immediate. Laura drops her champagne glass. It shatters. Gary literally chokes on his drink.
It's the shock of being unmasked.
Yeah.
In psychology, we talk about the persona versus the shadow. They'd been presenting this persona of love and loyalty.
And the recording just revealed the shadow. And they can't deny it. It's their own voices.
But he doesn't stop there. He lets the recording keep rolling right into the Gary and Ted segment.
And that's when the room explodes.
Yeah.
Laura hears Ted agree to cut her out, saying, "Screw her. Blood is thicker than water."
And the alliances just shatter. Laura attacks Ted. Ted punches Gary. Gary tries to run. It becomes an actual brawl.
But listen to what Laura screams. This detail is incredible. She doesn't scream, "How could you steal from my husband?" She screams, "You were going to cut me out after I gave you his passwords."
You caught that. I missed that on the first read.
She gave Ted the passwords.
Yes. In the heat of the moment, she admits the conspiracy went even deeper. She had already compromised the narrator's security by giving his brother access to his accounts. They were picking his bones long before the lottery ticket ever showed up.
That just justifies everything he did. He wasn't being paranoid. He was right.
He was completely right.
Yeah.
So the room is chaos. The narrator whistles loudly to stop the fighting. And this is a moment of truth. Because right now, they all still think they're fighting over $100 million.
That's the only thing keeping them in the room.
Hmm.
And Laura, she tries to pivot.
She does. She tries what we call gaslighting, mixed with a sunk cost appeal. She says, baby, they manipulated me. I only care about you. We have $100 million. We can go anywhere.
She's trying to use the fake money as glue to fix the marriage she just admitted to destroying. She's betting that his greed is stronger than his self-respect.
And that is when he just laughs. The source describes it as a cold, hard laugh. He reaches into his pocket, pulls out the ticket,
And rips it in half.
and then into quarters. And he tells them, it was Photoshop. There is no money. I have $12 in my bank account.
$12.
The shift in that room must have been incredible. It wasn't just disappointment. It was horror. Because they all instantly did the math on what they had just lost.
And this is essentially game theory, right?
It is. They were playing a zero-sum game. For them to win, the narrator had to lose. But because the prize was fake, they ended up with a negative sum.
Let's run that math.
Laura destroyed her marriage and her reputation for $0. Gary destroyed his lifelong friendship and exposed himself as a sociopath for $0. Ted destroyed his family connection for $0.
They sold their souls and the check bounced.
Perfectly put. If the money had been real, they could have fought him in court, argued for a settlement. But because the money didn't exist, they had absolutely no leverage. They were just naked in their treachery.
So he kicks them out. Get out, all of you. And Laura, don't come back.
He sets the ultimate boundary.
So where is he now? Because usually when someone nukes their life like this, there's a period of mourning, of regret.
Well, physically, things are pretty rough. He's sleeping on an air mattress in an empty house because Laura came back and took all the furniture.
He took the furniture.
She felt entitled to it. She's now living with her mother. And Gary, get this, is actually trying to sue the narrator for emotional distress.
You're kidding. Your Honor, I'm suing because he tricked me into revealing I'm a terrible person. Good luck with that case.
It won't go anywhere. But the narrator's internal state is what's really important here. He says that despite having no furniture and only $12, he feels rich.
That sounds like a cliche, but somehow I think he really means it.
I think so too. It's this concept of subtraction as wealth. Sometimes getting rich isn't about adding money, it's about subtracting problems. And he removed 3 massive problems from his life in one night.
He ends the account with a little detail that I loved. He says he bought a real lottery ticket that day.
Right. And he notes, even if I don't win, I've already won. He reclaimed his reality. He stopped living in the delusion that these people cared about him.
It's better to be lonely and awake than popular and asleep.
That's it, exactly. It brings us right back to that engineering concept, destructive testing. The bridge collapsed completely.
But now he knows not to drive on it.
Exactly. He can build a new foundation. It's a painful process, but it's clean.
But it raises such a terrifying question for anyone listening, right? We all assume our inner circle is solid. We assume our spouse, our brother, our best friend has our back.
But we assume that because the stakes are usually pretty low, we live in the realm of cheap talk.
Yeah.
It's easy to be loyal when loyalty costs nothing.
But if you introduced a stimulus like this, if you dropped $100 million weight onto your relationships, would they hold?
That's the question I want to leave you with. The narrator chose the nuclear option. He wanted the truth more than he wanted the comfort of the lie. So if you had the skills, if you could Photoshop that ticket, will you send that picture to your family group chat?
Or is it just better not to know? Is ignorance actually bliss?
I'd like to say I would want to know, but, at 3 in the morning really thinking about it, I'm not so sure I would.
The price of truth is high.
And not everyone can afford it.
On that cheery note check on your friendships, maybe lend your brother the $5, and we will see you on the next deep dive.